there guys, Freddy here. Welcome back to another retro adventure. And this is going to be another one where we're looking at the very early days of role-playing games. Because this time we're going to be looking at this, Tegel Manor, or Tegel Manor. I'm not quite sure of the pronunciation of it. But this is an adventure that came out from the Judges Guild in 1977. So looking at the timeline of things, this is after Palace of the Vampire Queen had come out, which was the first published adventure. It's also after Gary Gygax had published his tournament adventure, which was only to be run in tournaments. It wasn't for DMs to take home and run for themselves. The Lost Caverns of Zoj-Conth, which was rewritten later into the Lost Caverns of Zoj-Canth, which has been republished even later by Wizard of the Coast as part of their current releases of old adventures. But this came out before Steading of the Hill Giant Chief, which was the first TSR published adventure. Still in that period where Gary Gygax didn't really think that people would be interested in buying adventures. So this was proving things. It's also really interesting because there's some names attached to this one that I really didn't expect to find connected to Judges Guild. Especially when the Judges Guild's still kind of going. They're still publishing stuff up to this day, or republishing stuff with Goodman Games. But it's a very different adventure to the other ones of this period. As I've said while we've been looking through those other ones, they're still learning how to put out adventures in this period. They hadn't really packaged it up properly, and they were experimenting with different things. And this is another experiment, because as you can see from this map on the cover, the manor itself is absolutely massive, and there's tunnels underneath it, and caverns and all that. This is an absolutely huge dungeon, but there is no plot to it at all. Where Steading of the Hill Giant Chief, you're driving through something, you've got a plot. There's not much of one there, but there is a plot to get you there. This is just a place that you discover and you explore. There's no further plot than that. Inside, table of contents, copyright 1977, Judges Guild Incorporated, artwork by Kevin Simbida, Pixie Bledsaw, and Ken Simpson. Well, Kevin Simbida is a name I definitely recognise from Palladium. He's the guy behind Rifts and Palladium Fantasy and some other fantastic games that they've brought out. And he's still doing stuff up to this day. So it was kind of a surprise that he was absolutely there at the very dawn of role-playing. And doing stuff for Dungeons & Dragons, which is very, very cool. Got a table of contents and straight into it. Area background and encounters. Tegel Manor, a great manor-fortress on the seacoast, is rumoured to be left over from ancient days when a charm was placed over it, protecting it from most of the ravages of time and human occupation. This charm includes fire resistance for the manor's timbers. The hereditary owners, whose family name is Rump, have been amiss in their traditional duty of providing protection for the market village to the west. Some have said this failing and their bizarre eccentricities have led to their corruption. Many have found the manor an area to be a dangerous place to visit. And we've got all outdoor encounters. We've got including Roughneck Rump the Rotund, because the Rump family all have names starting with R. That's the thing we're going to notice. And we've got different encounters, subject to an encounter roll every other turn. We've got special zombies, acolytes of Sartogus, pirates from the coast, sturges, goblins, Baladar, lawful good ranger, and roll normal wilderness encounter table. For encounters at night, we've got Rang the Ripper, an assassin, giant bats, Dearth monster of Durfingil Marsh, a black dragon, a giant stag beetles, skeletons, ghouls, druids, and roll normal wilderness. Continuing through, we've got Tegel Village. Found in Hicks 4416, it's a village of 230 able-bodied men, neutral alignment. Its main occupation is market for the farms, mostly to the west, and some sea trade from further south. And we've got shopkeepers and notable natives. So, we've got Turnalmore, the mayor, organiser of the militia, and builder of the Great Citadel. And he's 7th level, he's got 28 hit points, a class of 7, and some stats there. He carries a +1 sword. Got Arnthora, priestess of the Temple of Thor, losing attendance to Sarthogus' temple on the hill. And it goes through the characters, giving stats for them and very brief descriptions. Burgett, blunt, enterprising spear maiden. Marsha R, fighter, gushing but wily monger. We've got benevolent character module. Sir Runic the Rump paladin. With his equipment, and he's the current owner of the manor, and he will attempt to get rid of it. Because it's basically cursed, people tend to return it to him. So he's tried to sell it several times, and then people threaten him to take the deeds back and take ownership once more. He's got some servants following him as well. So that's probably how the players are going to get into it. They're probably going to meet Runic the Rump, and he is going to try and sell them the manor, or give them the deeds, or gamble them away in a game of chance. We've got the Rump family tree. Now, these are also paintings within the manor house, which have different effects when they view. So, we've got Sir Runic Rump, Reckless Rory, Rialto the Riffraff. Now, if you look at the picture of Rialto the Riffraff, it infects the viewer with lice. Ranting Rex. The picture causes viewer to talk in screams for 2 to 12 turns. And we've got lots of them. So, Ranaha the Repellent, Rackstor the Rash, Racketeer Retok, Racktang Ragelot. Pages here. Raucous, Ranting Redern, Siratark Rat-Hearted, Rushrat the Rainmaker, Sir Rankling, Roderick the Righteous, Ransack Roscoe. I don't know how they managed to get all these R names. We've just got pages and pages of R names. Rebounding Radel, Rigorn the Recruit, Rimout the Reviver, probability of 15% resurrection spell from his painting. Rubart the Recondite. The picture turns face from the viewer. And another page, Riddle's Redwald, asks Riddle, and gives you 2 to 12 gold pieces. Ribonso the Rider, probability 10% of polymorphing you into a horse. And then we've got descriptions of the rooms. And some of these are quite detailed. Now, A1 has Butler Bertalan, a Balrog ghost, politely asked to be wraps indignantly leaves through wall if refused. 3 mouldering corpses by outside door. A7, creaky floor, gem-studded silver goblet hidden under chest, full of rotting clothes. Sighing heard only by elves, 1 to 3 are. Becomes normal breathing sound, and walls quiver. Becomes very loud panting, and walls move in and out. Becomes deafening breathing noise after 1 to 3 rounds, and walls move in and out. Becomes a stunning -2 strength noise 1 to 3 rounds, and walls suffocate players in 1 to 8 rounds. So, the room, if you hang around in it, has further and further effects until it kills you. Empty rocking chair rocks. Plates float across room as it's haunted. We've got the Brothers Tower here with various rooms within it. But most of this is just detailing lots of monsters. And there's no reason for these monsters being here. They are just random monsters. So we've got 3 wights in one room, and then a short distance away, a giant toad. A red skull sits on a chest asking endless streams of questions. A child singing upstairs. 4 giant rats, and it's got their attributes there. We've got more giant rats there. There's the armory with 36 swords, 52 spears, 23 shields, 4 halberds, 6 daggers, 2 bows, and 10 arrows. The person who's done this has written in descriptions for what the rooms are like. And also see they've played it because they've scored out the monsters as the players have killed them. We've got Rakshasa, bugbears, throne room with 3 giants, spiders, manual of puissant skill at arms hidden in rotting papers, cup of rancid wine will fly at finder. Just lots and lots of descriptions of rooms, all of them with some monsters in there, random stuff to find, and very short descriptions. There's 20 rooms on each page. Carrying on through, wall inscriptions detail the Rump family history, miniature red dragon, 3 hit dice. In a carved chest with immense swarm of metallic blue flies. A keg of delicious gold wine heals 1 to 3 hit points, but will age imbiber 10 to 60 years after a 20-turn delay. What else? We've got more bedrooms, stables, waiting rooms. We've got the east wing here with dormitories, bedrooms. A few sketches of things, but garden grottos, the wizard's tower. There's some inscriptions which we found on tombstones. Here lies Runic Rump, stuck in her head, pulled back a strump. This is Rolf, his life was full, till he tried to milk a troll. Roderick, quite a cager, till he failed to pay a wager. Very rhyming. And then we're on to the map. So this is sort of tunnels beneath. Each inch equals 110 feet. Some small rooms. The description of dungeon level 1. The rat lairs. We've got level 2. And the description of dungeon level 2. Level 3 and 4. The descriptions of levels 3 and 4. Again, very brief. These are mainly just monsters. You know, room J here. 2 werewolves, 4 hit dice. 17 to 28. HTK, AC 5, 2 to 8 hit point bite, lurk behind crimson tapestry. We've got some startling statues. Encountering a magical statue, roll 12-sided die for horizontal column and 8-sided die for vertical column. So you're rolling 12 down, 8 across to see what the statue is. Rudimentary resurrection results. A picture of a vampire. And then we've got map of the area. I actually really like this map. The manor itself is over on this page. But going back, we've got the town. And I think that's a pretty detailed map. For something in 1977, where we really hadn't published maps with RPGs before, I really like this one. Lots of hexes to measure everything out. There's the temple, there's a keep up there. It's a fairly detailed area. Then we've got Tegel Manor, the player's map, so completely blank for the players to draw out. And then split over multiple pages, if I can swap to another mode so we can see a bit more. We can see that the areas are laid out. They're detailed, so we've got room A6, the mead hall, A3 bedroom, vestibule there, different bedrooms, creaking corridors, until the very last area, which for some reason is aligned differently. But it's really interesting adventure. I can see you playing this a lot because there's so many rooms, so many areas. But it's just completely random. There's no plot here at all. You are just going in to kill monsters. And there's a lot of fun in that. And I remember gaming being like that in the 1970s, early 1980s. We didn't care about the plots. We were heroes, we were warriors, we were going in, fighting monsters, getting treasure, getting magical items, and just having a lot of fun. Anyway, that's Tegel Manor. As I said, I really like it for what it is. I'll continue looking through the early Judges Guild adventures, because they published a few, and we shall see how they developed. Because obviously they're starting in a very different place from where TSR started, and a very different place from where the Wee Warriors started. It's different and familiar, although very, very basic. But anyway, I think I've been wittering on for quite long enough as usual. So thank you very much for watching. But as always, most of all, you look after yourselves. And I'll catch you later. Bye now.